Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Venator Trading. It's Thursday, July 20th, 7 a.m. New York time. Good morning to everyone here stateside. On the other side of the pond, good afternoon. Hope you had a good lunch. And good evening to all of my hunters over on the other side of the world. Glad you guys are here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join here on the stream and hang out for a couple of hours and talk through what trading looks like and maybe even hunt down a trophy buck setup. So we'll see what the market brings us today. But good morning to everybody. Thank you guys for already jumping in there. Marlon, Adrian, Corey, Red, Sunrise, John. Glad you guys are there. There may be others, but my chat didn't refresh all the way up. But glad you guys are here. Hope you had a good day yesterday. Kind of frustrating to see that euro dollar just sneak off and run away without giving us an opportunity to participate there. It's been just one of those seasons in trading. This last month has been, it's just part of it. It happens. It actually did sneak back up and would have tagged in and ended up hitting TP again off of that breaker. Finally filling in that fair value gap there and then rolling over. Pretty much a sniper entry. I don't trade. I don't go back to yesterday's breakers. I want to see previous session breakers or current session breakers. Those are the ones I focus on. But again, you can see that trade playing out pretty nicely there. Just unfortunate we couldn't get an entry on there. And that happens. No big deal. We'll just keep plodding along. I'm in no rush to get out of drawdown. I'm in no rush just to find a trade. You have to fight that urge. You have to fight that urge to just constantly be in a trade. The market's open. Get in a trade. It's kind of how we think about that. So that wrecks so many accounts. You just dump your trading plan and you just immediately jump in as soon as you get on the charts and you start you think you're missing profits. And you make stupid decisions. And you just make the situation worse. I promise you. You just have to wait. So we got some news at 8:30 this morning. Unemployment claim numbers are coming out for the dollar. Not sure if there's anything else coming out. Let me look. I'll pull this up so we can look together. We've got sorry about that. German PPI came out. So really all we've got is unemployment claims at 8:30. That's about it. I mean, there's just not much more today or tomorrow. Like these next 2 days, we could probably, we hopefully can find at least one trade in here that will let us participate in the market with a clean setup. So we'll see what unemployment claims give us. We're not going to do much probably until then. If we find a setup before then, like right now, and we could get in, maybe, but most likely we'll just wait until the after those numbers come out. So we'll just see. We will just see. Good morning, Aditya. Yes, news at 8:30. Trading requires a lot of patience. I have not taken trades since Monday. Feeling bored. I think now I'll make a mistake by entering random trade. Don't do that. Don't do that, Aditya. Boredom is probably one of the best indicators that you're doing your job the right way. When you're bored, you're doing your job the right way. In trading, there is so much sitting around and waiting for your setup to unfold. And so if you're feeling boredom, You're doing the right thing. Lean into that. Embrace that boredom. You're doing the right thing. I also have not taken a trade since last week, early last week. So, I mean, I've sat through, I don't know, 7 trading sessions. Now, we've put orders in a couple times and we've had to cancel them. But this is the name of the game right here. This is what professional traders do. They come in and they sit down, and very often they're just bored. I think I said this yesterday, maybe it was the day before, but this stream has actually helped me fight that, because if I was not doing the stream, I would be doing what I'm doing anyway. But now at least I have something else to occupy my time and my mind, while I would just be sitting here staring at the charts or watching some other news or scrolling social media or, you know, whatever, all kinds of just dumb stuff, to take your focus off of what it is you're here to do. So don't be worried about being bored, and don't just jump into a trade. I have a tweet scheduled later today, just basically talking about how our subconscious mind is wired for survival. And so it's constantly on the lookout for danger. It's constantly trying to find the threat because it wants us to survive. And so it's why you're in constant conflict. Every time you sit down at these charts, there is some kind of internal conflict going on, because your subconscious mind thinks there's a threat. It thinks there's some kind of pain it needs you to avoid. And until you can learn to ignore those false alarms that are constantly going off as a trader, you're always going to be you're going to continue just to find yourself in a failing situation. You cannot give in to those instincts. You can't give in to them. They're wrong. They cannot think 2 steps ahead. They don't think linearly. They think just what's right in front of them. What's the most immediate pain that I need to deal with? So just keep fighting that boredom. Good morning, Alpha Bridge. Welcome in. Good to see you. So yesterday, had the drop down, retested that the break of this structure, the swing level here inside that weekly volume imbalance. So we're back down around 50% of this volume imbalance on the weekly time frame. Remember, this is a weekly volume imbalance right here that we're sitting inside of, this big area. Our drawn liquidity last week was the middle part of that 50%. That's just above that swing high. It came back down now, and it is retested that swing high and pulled back up a little bit. Still have a very large buy side imbalance below us, so there could still be a little bit of downside here for a retrace. On the 4-hour, you can see we've broken structure and we fell to make a new high. So on the 4-hour, even though the daily is very bullish, on the 4-hour you can see you're starting to get a little bit of that rollover and getting the sell side of the curve here potentially. So you still could come down, lots of imbalances to try to potentially reach back down into. So we'll see. Interestingly, we've run some buy-side liquidity here. And now we're starting to break back down. We had this big push up. This is on an hourly time frame, so there may be setups down lower, but on the hourly time frame here on Euro Dollar, this down close candle initiated this quick stab up through the Asian session, and we grabbed these old highs right here. And then now we're starting to fall away. Now that we've grabbed that liquidity through the London session, be interesting to see what happens if this turns into a 1-hour breaker. On a lower time frame, you can see, let me get down to the 15-minute. On the lower time frame, you can see we've grabbed liquidity there, broke through. This becomes your breaker. This down close candle is what ran these highs, and then you had displacement through fair value gap inside of there. It's stalled out. It's come back up a couple times into that area, into this fair value gap. Now we've run liquidity here and getting some kind of reaction, not a strong displacement. We would need to see a little bit more displacement here before we would consider this being an opportunity to get in. So it would be this down close candle, runs liquidity, displaces away. You do have a bit of a fair value gap there, but we would need to see the candle that we're currently in. We need to see it continue to drop down and give us, this is not displacement. We didn't get this body did not close below that candle. So it looks like displacement. That's not displacement. We need another candle here before we have a setup on euro dollar potentially already today. Jump over to pound dollar. You can see yesterday we tapped right into that discount area, that discount line. So premium is above 50%, discount is below 50%. We tapped right into that discount level. We filled in this imbalance completely, and we've pulled away. You can still see OTE area would be down inside of here and back into these wicks somewhere right in there. So again, could still be some downside to GBP as well. On the 4-hour, obvious break of structure there. We're now making lower lows and lower highs. Tapped back in up into this sell side imbalance, and we've since been dropping. We still haven't taken out yesterday's low. So that's kind of the initial draw on liquidity for me on the GBP side is yesterday's low right here. See if we can tap down into potentially some of these, this order block down in here, get back down closer into this OTE area. On the 1 hour, similar to euro dollar, we've taken out some buy side liquidity and we're starting to fall away. This is yesterday's low, so if you get some displacement through there, you might have a potential breaker setting up. And on the 15-minute, which is the time frame we like to find our setups on, as you got into the Asian session, you ran liquidity. Didn't really get much. It just trickled down, and then as you get into London, you run sell side, you come back up, run a little buy side, no real displacement yet, and now we've just kind of made a lower low here. I would have, all of this mess here, you would have wanted to see this run on liquidity, take out that high, and then displace lower to have an opportunity inside of that breaker, but it just bottled up and consolidated through most of London. So no real clean setup there on GBP yet. Heading over to the dollar, we look at the index here on the dollar. Again, yesterday, push up. There is a small volume imbalance down here inside there. So we're just inside yesterday's candle currently. This volume imbalance right here is probably, it did reach up into that. Let me zoom in a little bit here, clean this up. So this volume imbalance, it reached right up into that. There's another one up here that it may want to reach up to. I don't know if it's going to get up that far, but you can see the dollar is pulling back not as aggressively as the pound has fallen, and not as aggressive, as quite as aggressively as the euro. So dollar showing a little bit more. It's digging back in, but look, like this, just one daily candle, it's taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days to basically rebalance one candle. And there's still all of these candles up here to rebalance. So it's not just shooting back up to reclaim these areas and rebalance these areas yet. It's slowly pushing up, but you're not getting that quick. Basically, what I'm getting at is that if you're looking at this as here's all the sell side liquidity, you get a run on liquidity. You're not getting that explosive move away after you've run liquidity. So if we were thinking of this as a breaker, these up close candles here would initiate this run on sell side liquidity. So they all started right here. We pushed up so that we could run down. We've ran down very aggressively. Now that we're down here, we're not getting that aggressive move back up through this area. It's stalled out. So it tells me that potentially the dollar weakness isn't over. Not that it can't, again, not that short term it can't climb back up for a healthy retrace and rebalance a little bit, maybe fill in a couple places, but it's not giving you the signal that this is just going to start another bull dollar run right here currently. So maybe it gets up and digs up a little bit higher. Maybe we finish bullish this week. But comparatively, we are still bearish, right? Even if it finishes bullish, even if this finishes an up close candle this week, it does not change the fact that we are overall still bearish on the dollar right now. So jump back down here to our 15-minute time frame, kind of clean this up a little bit. So yesterday spiked up into that volume imbalance and just kind of fell away the rest of the afternoon. Asian session fell down pretty much all of yesterday's range, and then we've since spiked back up overnight, filled in the opening day gap that we had, and just currently hovering around that area right there right now. So see what happens. Again, my preference would have been that it ran some buy or some sell side liquidity here and then started displacing higher, but it did not. GJ, here's our trade from yesterday on GJ. Again, we did not get triggered in back over here. You can see it did end up coming back up into that breaker and respecting it nicely. Also would have been another winning trade. This does not, again, I don't hold these trades, and I leave this up here only to show you that breakers are high probability setups. And when a breaker leaves untested, and when it does come back to it, it very often will respect it and give you an opportunity to. I do not hold these. I do not just hold these just because it held last night. There's just as many times that it would just shoot right through there. So don't look at this as, oh man, well, I should have just left that trade there. Hindsight's 2020, right? Like I go off of my rules. I execute my strategy, and I'm not going to trade yesterday's setup on the next day. I'm going to wait for a new setup to form. So this is just more for my own mindset to reinforce analysis was correct. And this setup, the way the market moves and respects this setup, just reinforces to me you have a good strategy, if that makes sense. Not that I need constant reinforcement of that, but the more you see it, the more it ingrains in your mind to have confidence to execute when you get your setup. The more you see these play out, the more confidence you have in executing. And so I like seeing it, man. I like seeing that your analysis works, that the breaker works, the fair value gap inside the breaker, noticing where the stop was protected and respected. So all of that's just good information to have. But currently, if we were going to look at current analysis on GJ, we're failing to make a new highs. We broken structure right here, change of structure. We made a new low. We came back. We failed to make a new high, and now we're pushing lower. So these relative equal lows off of these two daily candles, and then you still have some imbalances down here. that GJ may want to tap into and rebalance a little bit. So still a little bearish there overall. On the 4-hour, again, you've taken buy side liquidity right here. You've taken old highs here and here, rebalanced into that fair value gap, and then it's respected it and fallen away. Currently, your drawn liquidity would be right down here under these relative equal lows. So that's your bearish sentiment on GJ currently. Not really any good clean setups overnight. You would have wanted to see a run on this liquidity here. At least I probably would have. This is not a strong enough run on liquidity here, just getting above like that wick or that wick. I would want to have seen it tapped into this level here and then displaced down, and then you could have had an opportunity to get in, but nothing super clean, no breakers. It's respecting order blocks, it's respecting bearish order flow, but the specific breaker setup that we trade here, no clean setup on GJ right now. So we would need to see GJ come up and take out one of these two levels, I think, this morning before I would think there's a nice setup forming there. So US 30, yesterday we had a spike up. Again, we're clearing out all the buy side liquidity up here. These levels, these levels, these levels. This is your next area where you're going to have buy side liquidity resting above there. Could be the draw. It has just been on a massive tear. Just massive tear. Currently kind of consolidating around there a little bit. But this is just a huge push up, and you didn't get really any pullbacks at all into any of these imbalances. These imbalances were left behind. These imbalances have been left behind. And people trying to keep thinking there's a top in are just getting hammered. Here on the 1 hour, if you look back again, hindsight 2020, but just for your own analysis, you can see you had this push up right here yesterday at 4 a.m. initiated this run on liquidity yesterday, and then you had this big 9 a.m. candle just shot up. This was as we were kind of getting off the stream yesterday, leaving behind this 1 hour breaker right there. So there's your 1 hour breaker block. Obvious fair value gap inside of there. I would have wanted to get down into 50% of that, but you can see it tapped right into that breaker and then ran up to it. It would have swerved my entry, but again, just for your own analysis and just for your own understanding of how this trading system works, you ran liquidity, aggressive move away after you ran liquidity. So you see a quick stab down, it grabs liquidity, aggressive move away, breaking through that structure, leaving behind a fair value gap. And my entry again would have, it's not at the top of the breaker. I try to get a little bit of a deeper dig into the breakers with a protected stop down here. Again, just seeing how that all plays out is just reinforcement. This happens on every time frame. You can use this on every time frame. Don't go lower than the 15-minute only because you're just not ready. I'm not ready. I've been burned too many times going down underneath that 15-minute time frame. You just get confused on where you're at and what's happening. And there's plenty of opportunities up here. And I say that knowing that I've only taken 3 trades in 3 weeks. So when I say there's plenty of opportunities, I know you're like, Brad, you're full of it. You've only taken 3 trades in 3 weeks. But you weren't here when we were taking trades every single day. So it's seasonal. I'm not going to change my strategy because I'm only getting a few setups right now. I'm not going to change anything. it will come back around to where we're going to get plenty. We're going to have to choose what setups we want instead of waiting for a setup to appear. So here on US 30, you can see we've taken out some liquidity here. Well, here you go. You've taken out this liquidity here. You've had a quick run up. This is the London move up. This liquidity was grabbed. This, you could either use this up close candle or this one, potentially that one. I'm not sure which one I would use. Probably this one here. You could identify this as a potential breaker right there. And then you've got a couple of you've got a fair value gap inside on either side of that breaker. So I would just potentially be targeting that area there and put it below the candle of the lowest breaker, which is down there. So we'll watch that and see. Again, until unemployment numbers come out, I'm probably not going to take any setup. So we've got another hour here until the unemployment claims come out. But this is a setup I'll watch and see. I'm not going to enter anything there on US 30, just watching that. Let's look at the chat. The chat pair, Aussie dollar. The chat picked this pair yesterday. We'll leave it up for the rest of the week. And then Monday, we'll pick a new pair for the chat. Take this off. Interesting that the Aussie dollar is rising and the dollar is also rising at the same time. So if you look back over here on the daily time frame, we have had quite a move today already. We've taken out yesterday's high. We've taken out Tuesday's high, Monday's high. So we've just made a new weekly high, which means we have a massive wick on the weekly time frame. You have some obvious draws on liquidity up here on just above these two daily wicks up there, or these two weekly wicks there. Much more clear on the daily time frame. So we're grabbing liquidity here. We grab liquidity here, pushing up. We did not get displacement through this level. It is wicking above these highs, but that could just be a run on liquidity here. Doesn't have to be did get some displacement here. These two up close candles were the last up close candles we had before we dug into sell side and kept digging. Once it was through digging into sell side, we've had displacement up back through this level. Obvious fair value gap in here. This is on the hourly time frame, but it dug right back down into that, right at that 50% level right there. This is why I like the 50% level. You can see it just, you get some really clean entries at that price delivery there. This could be pushing, using this drawn liquidity up here. Relative equal highs on the hourly, but this is also daily time frame with this level back over here right there. So could be wanting to push up there. Overnight, we drop down into sell side liquidity. We did not get energetic displacement up through this level. It climbed, but you did not get that aggressive move after it grabbed the sell side. So there's not really any clean setup here for me to go long on AU right now. I would have needed to see, after it grabbed this liquidity, I would have needed it to see displacement through this zone right here. And then you could have potentially have used some of these up close candles as breakers. But currently, that's not happening. So there's no setup here on AU for me right now. We can check out the other indexes here since we're just, we've got about an hour or so until the news drops with the unemployment claim numbers. S&P dug a little higher, came back down, and is consolidated. You've got relative equal lows down here. It did tap into it, but it's left. That's still enough for me to say there's some liquidity. You've got a little bit of a trend line building up. So there's some sell side liquidity here if it wants to do another moonshot today. You could anticipate a little bit of a dig here and then another moonshot up. It's left behind the daily opening gap currently on, at least on the ACAP feed it has. I'm not sure if every broker is going to have that gap, but volume imbalance there. It's tried to tap back up into it. It didn't get all the way back up, but so we'll see what happens there. NAS, very similar, gap down and has just kind of fallen off. It's tapped into the sell side. The S&P has not. So oh, all right. There we go. That's what we're watching and waiting for. I'm going to be I'm more short-term bullish on the dollar, which would mean I'm a little short-term bearish on EU and GU still. So we'll see what the day brings us. We'll just wait for this news to come out. We'll watch and see if there's liquidity that gets run. And then just be patient and wait for our setup. So good morning, Deadpool. Mr. Alfie, good morning. Sir Dev, trading only after the news, right? Currently, yes. With this being this close to the unemployment claims coming out, yes, I'm not taking any positions until after that drops. Hey, Kenneth, good morning. Owen, passed phase 1 of a challenge this morning, Brad. I have to thank you for improving my patience. First challenge that took me more than 3 weeks. Good job, Owen. I'm proud of you, buddy. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to pass a challenge. It just matters whether you're executing your strategy. That's all that matters. If you're executing your strategy and you let your edge play out, you're probably going to start passing challenges. There is no rush. It doesn't have to be a week. It doesn't have to be 2 weeks. It doesn't have to be a month. Just execute. And I promise you, like I tweeted yesterday, if 4 months from now your bank account is popping with notifications for payouts, it doesn't matter how long it took you to get there. Just be patient. But way to go, Owen. That's fantastic. John says the new day opening gap is also on the future. Oh, good to know. Good morning, Beeswax and Viley Mansky. Good afternoon from Nigeria. Welcome in. Glad to have you. So grateful that you guys are here. So grateful. Y'all make this chat good, really. Otherwise, it's just me rambling. So your participation here is really what makes this special and makes it work. So thank you guys for watching. And I know there's other traders out there that are streaming that you could be watching, and good traders and guys that are calling multiple trades a day and using that. And the fact that you choose to be here it means a lot to me. So thank you for being here. All right. We're just chilling and waiting. Chilling and waiting. Not much to do. Just another boring Thursday watching candles print. Are there any pairs that we don't have up on the screen that you want to check out or that you see potential setups forming on and you would just like everyone's eyes to get on it? Let me know. If you have a question, anything you're struggling with, anything you want to talk about, throw it in the chat over there. Plans for the weekend, any of that good stuff, because we're just chilling. AN. Whoa. Whoa. AN. Man, I kind of almost forgot this pair existed. AN to me is a lot like EG. It's just, I feel like there's just a lot of chop on AN. You have had a break of structure here, making higher highs. See it more clearly on the 4 hour. This would have been your 4 hour breaker. Up close candle, runs liquidity, displaces through, fair value gap left behind, 50% of the breaker. Right at higher. You're just currently making higher highs here on the 4 hour. Yesterday's high is your draw liquidity. And then this swing level over here would be your next draw on liquidity. 1 hour failed to make a new low below the swing low. Instead, we're just climbing higher. Is there anything here that I see that would be interesting to me? I mean, technically, you did take out a swing low right here. You didn't really get displacement through. It just chopped, and then you got displacement, so there's no fair value gap inside of there. I mean, the draw on liquidity is yesterday's high, so it's probably going to want to, if it wants to go down, it's probably going to want to stab up into that and grab liquidity. But it's definitely bullish on the 15-minute, on the 1 hour and the 4 hour. It's bullish. So, but there's no, I don't see any breaker set up here currently. I mean, technically, it would be this 15-minute candle. This was your last up close candle. You did run some liquidity here. And then you just didn't get that quick aggressive displacement back up. So, you know, you're going to want to see and watch how price reacts around this order block area here on the 15-minute, which is right about this 30-minute candle. Wick to body here. Does it want to push back down into that wick to body area and then reverse? But there's not a breaker set up there on AN anywhere. I always heard guys in Texas are decent people, so I think I'm good here. I mean, I think there are a lot of decent guys in Texas. John, what the crap is that? MGCQ? I have never heard of MGCQ. What is that? Ever trade NU? I used to trade NU back in the day. Oh, that's the futures for gold. Okay. Micro gold. John, we need to have a talk about you and the Gilded Gal, man. You're spending too much time over at the Gilded Gal. NU, I don't trade NU. I used to trade NU, Corey, but it fell off. When I used to watch like 15 different pairs, NU is one of them, but I gave it up. AN and EG are swing pairs mostly. I mean, that makes sense. But you just got to sit through a ton of chop. I just feel like they chop around so much. Is there a setup on NU? NZD USD. Let's take a look. I mean, right off the bat, it looks like there might be. I mean, when you see it, right? It's the ones that are obvious that you like to see the most. This is just off the 15-minute. I have no idea what's happening on the higher time frames, but you can see a stab up into liquidity, displacement away. Where did this move start? It started on this down close candle right here. There's your breaker. Obvious fair value gap inside of there. For me, I'd probably want to keep my stop above that high right there and then target this area here. So not too bad of a setup. Again, I've not done any higher time frame analysis on this, Corey, so you're going to need to take that into account. But pretty clean setup on NU, right? Just jumping right off the bat there to see obvious run on buy side liquidity, quick displacement back down after you hit it, leaving behind some volume imbalances and fair value gaps. So that is not me calling that trade. That's just me very quickly my eyes just jump right here. So that's what I see right off the bat. So could be if you trade NU, that could be. You need to do your higher time frame analysis. I'm not going to jump up there on that yet. Juan Luis Rivera. I'm in Houston, H-Town, baby. Let's go. H-Town. I love Houston, man. Houston is the most multicultural city in the United States. There are more people groups that live in Houston than anywhere else in the country. There are more languages spoken in Houston than anywhere else in the country. It truly is the melting pot of the world for the USA. It is the most culturally diverse city in the country. It's fantastic. You can literally meet just driving around town, and it's a huge town. It's huge by not just population. I mean, I know there's bigger cities in the world, right? But I mean, Houston, the sprawl of Houston, it can take you easily over an hour to get from the north side to the south side or from the east side to the west side. There's basically 3 different downtown areas. If you were looking at, like, if you could just look at back up and look at the horizon, you could see almost three separate downtown areas. The food here is freaking amazing. Any world-class entertainment, athletics, art. I mean, it's got NASA for science. It's got oil for engineering. It's got one of the best medical centers in the world. Houston is freaking awesome. And anybody that's in the area, maybe we'll do a Houston meetup. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah. Owen, what's your stance on EU currently? I apologize if I missed it earlier. Grabbed some buy side and displaced away. It hasn't really displaced away. It grabbed some buy side. This right here is not, to me, enough of a buy side grab. Here, it didn't displace away either. It didn't this is not enough for me. Plus, with news coming out, I'm just going to wait and watch and see for the news. Where does it want to? Does it want to pop up and give us a little Judas swing? So EU, my bias is that we're going to go short a little bit more on EU, but again, I need to see a little bit more than this right there. And with news coming out in 45 minutes, there's no opportunity to get into a trade right now, Owen. Juan, yes, this is true. I'm glad you think so. If you live here, man, one of the other 5 million people in the Houston area. Glad to have you. Maverick, hello, brother. Hope you're well. I think this is my longest amount of days that I've not placed a trade. Mentally, I'm taking a break to reset, and I feel progress as I'm not getting FOMO. The more that you can prove to yourself, first of all, Maverick, that's fantastic. Good job. You are growing, brother. You are growing. And the more, someone else was saying this earlier, that it's also been the longest time that they've not taken a trade. The longer you go without taking a trade, you prove to yourself that you can do that. And once you've done that, you realize I can do that again. Oh, I can just sit here and wait. Oh, I'm not missing anything. The lies that I believed and I kept giving into are what was keeping me in this cycle of repeated failure. The more that you can prove to yourself you don't have to take a trade, the stronger your confidence becomes internally to manage your trading system. So it's like, I kind of think of it like this, I do intermittent fasting. So that's one of the ways I stay healthy is through intermittent fasting. So basically, real quickly, about what that is just you don't eat for me, I stop eating around 8 o'clock at night. Between 7 and 8 o'clock at night is the last time I'll eat anything. And then I don't eat anything again until noon the next day. So it's at least 16 hours of not eating any food. And the first week I did that, it was not having any food after you get up. Like I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning here on Houston time. Getting up and then not eating anything for 7 or 8 hours after you wake up. The first couple of times you do that, you think you're gonna die. But then after you've done it a few days, you realize, oh, this isn't so bad, and your body adjusts. Now I actually do an extended fast twice a month. So twice a month, I will, on Sunday night, I will eat dinner around 7 o'clock or 6, 7 o'clock. And then I won't eat again until Tuesday night dinner. So I'll go all day Monday and all day Tuesday, and then I'll break my fast Tuesday night. So basically a 48-hour fast. And I do that twice a month. And I'll tell you, the first couple times I started doing that, it sucked. And you're just like, I can't do this. I'm going to die. I'm starving. I'm just thinking about food all the time. But then after you do it and you get on the other side and you realize the benefits mentally and physically that gives you, not only does it increase your desire to continue to push yourself, you recognize that you can do hard things. When you push yourself through doing something hard, you realize it wasn't as hard as you thought it would be. And now you can push yourself to do something harder. And you understand that there's benefits on the other side that are worth going through that hard thing to push through that and get to the benefit on the other side. And for traders, that's being patient. That's managing your emotions. That's saying no to the internal desires that you feel every single day when you sit down to trade. That's really what this is all about, is you pushing yourself to do something hard, to do something that your brain and your internal mechanisms of self-defense are trying to get you to do what you shouldn't do. And so by denying them, by having some self-denial and practicing self-denial, you're actually building into yourself the habits that you need that are foundational for your success as a trader. So you've got to be you have to be constantly pushing yourself to do the hard thing. And for you guys that are just now getting to a spot for maybe the first time going 3 days or 5 days without taking a trade, you can look back and you can realize nothing bad happened. I didn't miss anything. In fact, my mindset is stronger now than it was a week ago. This is something I just did something that I didn't think I would ever be able to do. My account is still safe. Nothing, it's just you can look back at all of the lies that you believe that you used to believe, and now you truly recognize them as lies. And you go, I can't believe I used to believe all that, and I can't believe I used to let that control me. So when you push through and you do the hard thing, you're building in the habits that you need to be successful in this business. So way to go. You guys are doing the right thing. Those of you that are experiencing for the first time what it feels like to go multiple days without taking a trade. Good job. Good job. John Jones, guarantee Houston barbecue. You're going to start that crap again in here? Come on, John. Come on, man. Whatever you think that you have in KC, and KC barbecue is good, I promise you, my friend, there is a version of it in Houston that is better. 100%. Don't even have to think about it. Again, there's probably enough KC transplants that live down here now that they've taken what you think is amazing up there and they've brought it down here and they've improved it. It's better. And it doesn't even really need to be an argument. Fried chicken. How can you say that you have better fried chicken? Fried chicken is just fried chicken. There's not a secret sauce or a secret recipe to make fried chicken better than another fried chicken. It's just fried chicken. I don't even put fried chicken as like a unique, like, specialty type of food. Like barbecue, there's so many different ways you can do barbecue. Pizza, there's so many different ways you can do pizza. Chili. But fried chicken, that is not a specialty food. I don't think so. EU didn't take HLO yet, and NU too. Owen says, I was thinking similarly, just wanted a second pair of eyes. Thanks. Mav, I feel for me, the thing I'm finding out is that trading is not a 9 to 5 where we occupy that time with work, whereas trading depends on market conditions and patience. You're 100% correct, Maverick. Like that is basically, that's the gist of it. We're not here. Like I say this before, we don't get paid by the hour to sit here and trade. We get paid to wait and do nothing. We get paid to not work, basically. We get paid to come and sit down at our computers and just watch candles print on the charts. That's what we get paid to do. And then occasionally, we'll push a button and make a trade. I can't believe you want to think fried chicken is better somehow in Kansas City than anywhere else in the world. It's fried chicken, man. KFC is great. Their original crispy recipe is, I mean, it's just fried chicken. I don't know how you have I ever had, I'm trying to think, have I ever had bad fried chicken? So the only thing that you can really change with fried chicken, and I know this has nothing to do with trading, but we've got 30 more minutes before the news hits and we're just sitting here having a good time with each other. The only thing the only thing that you can change on fried chicken is the breading, obviously. I prefer I prefer like a thicker crust, like a thicker breading, a thicker fried breading. I don't like a very thin coating. So there's a fast food restaurant here. Most of you probably will have never heard this depending on where you're at in the world, but it's called Cane's Chicken Fingers. And it's just strips of chicken and they bread it. And they have a very thin breading. It's basic, I mean, it's almost non-existent to me. And I do not like that. I need to have a thin, crunchy breading that's fried up on top of the chicken if I'm going to do fried chicken. I don't want a very thin fry on there. Like I need some breading on there if I'm gonna do fried chicken. I'll be honest, I don't do a ton of fried chicken. Mostly just I've tried to eliminate a lot of the carbs and stuff. I do mostly keto diet right now. I'm not like militantly strict about it, but I do definitely try to limit the amount of carbs that I take in. Um, so the thinnest amount of breading that is okay for me on chicken is probably Chick-fil-A's chicken. Uh, like on their like nuggets and their chicken breasts, it's a very thin. It's as thin as I am okay with. But I typically like the KFC original recipe breading, that thickness and that crispiness. Man, that's the sauce right there. That's the good stuff. Yo, what's up? I'm late. I got invaded by cockroaches. What? Oh, God. Bro, where do you live at that you're getting invaded by cockroaches? What is up with that? Marlon, hit that like button. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Do what Marlon says. Hit that like button. The more likes, the better. Thursday's slow day here on the stream, man. We're topping out at 37 viewers right now. I guess everybody's just had quite a boring week, or they've spent enough time in here this week to realize this guy's boring. Like, why are we watching him? There is a special, unique blend of spices in KC. I mean, if you want to just keep believing whatever lies you need to tell yourself, John, about KC food, you live there, so it's understandable. A unique blend of spices. Like we can't get those spices anywhere else. Like they just exist in Kansas City. No one else outside of Kansas City has ever used those spices on fried chicken. I find that hard to believe, my friend. Candle Slayer, I want to mean by that Judas Swing didn't finish work yet to decide trade long below New York midnight open. Open high low close. Yeah, we'll wait to see here on EU. Uh, I mean, it's definitely opened. Midnight open was way up here, so we've just opened and dropped. We haven't had any kind of higher run. So definitely could push up higher here. I still kind of carry a little bit of a short-term bearish bias on EU, so we'll see. Maverick, to be honest, this conversation about fried chicken is important. It is important. I mean, it's only important in understanding that fried chicken is just like I don't know. I mean, to me, it's not like they don't have like fried chicken competitions. They have barbecue competitions. They have chili cook-off competitions. Um, they don't have fried chicken competitions. Like that's just not a thing. And if they're doing it, it's because they can't compete in some other culinary competition. It's just fried chicken. That's all it is. Like it doesn't have to be anything more than just what it is. It's just fried chicken. Cane's chicken is, yeah, I'm not a fan of Cane's chicken. Everybody's like, oh, the Cane. So they have this thing called Cane sauce. And it's just, it's like I don't even know what it is. Mayo, ranch, ketchup blend. I don't even know what it is. It's not bad. But if you try to eat the chicken without the Cane sauce, it's not that great. And so I want to be able to eat a chicken strip or just a chicken breast or whatever fried chicken I'm eating. I don't want to have to I just want to be able to pick it up and eat it and it be really good just by itself. And Cane's to me is not that great all by itself. Like you have to have the Cane's sauce with it. Well, I don't want to go like I just want good fried chicken. I don't want to have to sauce it up. Good morning, David. Welcome in. Raising Cane's, that's it. Have it in California. Yeah, Raising Cane's. Well, we got a lover. Beeson89 loves. But we don't have many chicken finger places around here. Chicken Express is another fast food chicken restaurant here in the States. It's called Chicken Express. It's gaining in popularity here in the South. You can a lot of times the only places you can find it are out kind of in rural areas. It's like the Dairy Queen of chicken fingers or chicken fried chicken. But Chicken Express has some really good chicken fingers. I am a fan of Chicken Express, and they serve it with the white gravy. It's so good. And you don't have to have the gravy. You can just eat the chicken finger by itself and the breading is fantastic. It's the right crispiness, it's the right amount. Chicken Express highly I definitely can put in a promo. Should get sponsorship for that. All right, we're into the 8 o'clock hour now. We're just waiting for the unemployment numbers to come out at 8:30, and until then, we're just watching and waiting. We're not really doing much of anything else, so we're just watching and waiting. Dollars pushing up higher here, trying to take out the overnight high. Just did. It's definitely completely filled in that imbalance there. Again, this volume imbalance here, it's tapped into a little bit yesterday. Could be where it wants to draw to and close through at some point. That's why I would, yeah. Take all this off. We've run some buy side liquidity here. If we're going to be bullish on the dollar, we may see the markets drop a little bit, but no trades here yet. We're just going to watch and wait and see where does the market want to grab liquidity and then move away from. Here we've had a quick stab of liquidity. Ran buy side. We're displacing back through. Here is your... I would probably use both of these candles here. You could use that last one, but this one's fine too. You're getting some displacement here. Have a nice looking fair value gap. This is the chart pair, by the way. The chat. The chat voted to put Aussie dollar up on our watch list for the rest of the week. So we're watching it and analyzing it. And if we see a setup, we'll call it out. But you're seeing a nice little run of buy side liquidity here. You're seeing so this quick stab up, and then you're getting a quick displacement away after it grabs that liquidity. So, and you're leaving behind, where did this run on liquidity start? It started here, pushed up, grabbed it. We're breaking through fair value gap. Again, we're so close to our 8:30 news. Again, this is not a setup that we're going to call out here. I'd probably just go 7. I don't like going less than 7 pips on my stops. That could be a nice little play for us. We'll watch and wait. Maybe you get a little bit of a deeper dig down into here, and then after the news hits, we'll watch and wait and see what happens. But not a bad setup here on AU. Since we're bullish dollar, this would be, we would anticipate a weaker Aussie dollar. If the dollar is going to be bullish, we would expect Aussie to drop here. And this is in line with that higher time frame bias, grabbing liquidity all up above here, right and through here. So we'll see how that plays out. NU is very similar to AU. AU actually took out a higher high. NU failed to take out that higher high. So you have some SMT between NU and AU. Those are definitely correlated pairs there. Another reason you might see AU drop there. It grabbed liquidity. NU grabs some liquidity, but not the same liquidity. So not bad setup, actually. John says KC key ingredients commonly found in KC style seasoning include brown sugar. Adds sweetness, helps create caramelized crust. Paprika provides red color and smokiness. Garlic powder and onion powder. Chili powder. Pepper and salt. Mustard powder. Cayenne pepper. All of that, is that your fried chicken, or is that your barbecue? So KC fried chicken kind of has a red color to it. Is that what you're saying? Because of the paprika, you get a red coloring to the fry breading over there. It's both. So you just put the same seasoning on all your food and you call it the best? Is that it? It doesn't matter what you're cooking. Just use this seasoning. Barbecue, chicken, whatever meat you're cooking, just use this seasoning. And it is now the world's best. Texas barbecue is, Chris Knapp is correct. Chris Knapp is correct. Do they have barbecue over in Europe, UK, Africa? I know you probably have some form of barbecue, but do you guys like do brisket and pulled pork and all that? Is that a thing over there? It's a big deal over here. People don't mess around with their barbecue over here. Move to KC and I'll let you in on the secrets. I'll pass. I'll pass. I'll come visit. How about if I visit? You'll just tell me the secrets if I just come visit. We'll come up for a couple days. You can take me to the best KC barbecue spots. And then we'll switch and you can come down to H-Town and I'll take you to I'll show you the truth. EU grabbing some sell side liquidity here. So we'll see what that means. GU grabbing it, Aussie and NU, all of the same things here. Getting dollar strength heading into our news event here at 8:30. So we'll see if this is just a run on liquidity, and we're gonna roll over here into a bearish dollar for Thursday and Friday, or if this is going to continue to move upward. We will see here. Hey, Matthew, yo, welcome in, buddy. John, yeah, that would be awesome. Houston is a blast. Houston is so cool. Come up for bad baseball. Hey, it won't be bad when the Astros come. It'll be good. So maybe we'll just pick a time when the Astros are coming up to play the Royals, and we can just get some good baseball and some decent barbecue and some okay fried chicken. Good morning, Boris the Kid. Welcome in. Thank you guys again just for watching. We're not really doing anything until the news hits at 8:30. We're just watching and seeing, identifying where the draws on liquidity are, watching to see how these pairs react as we head into our news event at 8:30. And then we will try to determine our next course of action from there. Nice little setup here on NU, though. I do like this setup on NU. This is not horrible here. But again, until the news hits, news can change everything very quickly. So we just do nothing. We've marked out some areas of interest, and that's all we've done. And that's all you should be doing. Just wait for the news to pass. It's fine. Nothing is going to... nothing crazy is going to happen if you're not in a trade right now. So just hang in there. The only thing worse than Orioles baseball is Cane's chicken. Now, I can agree with that. I Chase Pips. Good morning. Welcome in. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. Why is my Twitter notifications going off? Somebody trying to blow it up? What's going on? Let me check this real quick. I just got like several. Maybe it's just spooling. Oh, Bespoke. Okay, Bespoke retweeted the link to their to the interview just now. I was like, what the heck? Well, a little bit ago. Up to 908 followers on Twitter. And I don't know what our YouTube is at. I think it's over 600 right now, so that's kind of cool. I'm happy with that. What's up, Metro? Decided to wake up today. 6:29. All right. To think, listen, man, 629 subscribers on YouTube for me is I'm thoroughly satisfied with that. Because 2 months ago, I had zero and I did not exist to anyone in the trading world on this planet. And that was by choice. I was just in the shadows doing my thing, figuring it out all by myself, really. So to go from zero to where we're at right now in just basically 60 days, I'm very happy with that. I really had no idea the reception that this kind of this style of trading and this kind of stream would have, and if it would be impactful, and if it would be of interest to people who continue to fail challenges. And at least for 41 of you, 42 of you, consistently so far, week in and week out, you guys have been here. And so and at least some of you are finding success that you haven't had before. It's helping your psychology and your mindset, and you're really starting to turn some corners. And so I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful that you're part of the small little tribe we're building here. So today and tomorrow off, nice. I don't know what I'm doing today. Our dog, I told you yesterday we had to take our dog to the vet. 17 years old. He's a mix between a Maltese and a toy poodle. Just a small little guy. He probably weighs like 9 pounds, 10 pounds. He's not big. But he's 17 years old. And his teeth are just rotten out. He's already lost a bunch, and the rest of them were just in horrible shape. And some of it's just genetic for that small breed and whatever. Anyway, we took him to the vet yesterday, and they pulled out the rest of his teeth. They left his canines. That's basically all he has left in his mouth. There's nothing left. And he was pretty loopy when he came home. He survived. We were told, because of his age, there's a chance he may not wake up from the anesthesia from that procedure. That they're often at that age, doggies just they don't come out of the anesthesia. But he woke up. He has a little bit of a mean bone in his body. He's a little bit of a turd, quite honestly. He cannot stand our other golden doodle, our boy golden doodle. He can't stand him, hates him. He's just kind of an ornery old man. And so I really, really love him. And like, there's a part of me somewhere deep down that actually does really love him. But there's also a part of me that wouldn't have been terribly, terribly sad had he passed yesterday on the operating table. And I know that sounds awful, but I mean, we've given him 17 years of an amazing life. He's had an incredible life. He's been treated like royalty. He is attached to my wife's side, and he gets treated like royalty. But there was a part of me that when she said, Kirby's okay, he's coming home, I was like, oh, yay. Yay. I would have been sad had he gone. I really would have. But I can't lie when I say that there was a little part of me that was sad that also he did not pass. So the amount of money we spent on a 17-year-old dog to have his teeth pulled because they were just rotting out of his mouth, and it literally smelled like decaying death inside of his mouth. The amount of money we spent, that dog better now live at least 5 more years. If he dies in the next 6 months after we just spent all this money pulling his teeth, I'm going to be so ticked off, man. Again, there's a part of me inside. He's part of the family. I'm going to be sad when he goes. It won't be the same without him. But there was probably a little bit of a larger part of him. I can say this because my wife is not down here and she's not in this room right now. But there's a part of me that would not have been sad had he gone. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with today. I'm sure she's going to be nursing him all day today and treating him like he needs kid gloves. So we'll see how that goes. Kenneth, who was your first subscriber? I'm not sure. Outside of someone in my family, it may have been Corey. I think Corey may officially have been the very first subscriber. I don't know if there's a way to go back and check that in my stats somewhere, but it may have been Corey. Corey is for sure the first viewer that I remember. There may have been someone else before, but Corey's the first person that actually said hello in the chat. And he was the only person watching. That was Corey. And that's why I was really hoping Corey would have won one of those 10K challenges last week that we were giving out. I was sad that he didn't. But there'll be more giveaways, I'm sure, and he'll have another chance. But Corey's funded right now. Corey's already funded, so he's doing his own thing. Kenneth is curious, how did everyone find this channel prior to the Bespoke interview? Metro somehow made it out alive. Dude's never dying. He is never dying. Metro's my son, by the way. He's the mod in here, but he's my son, and he knows Kirby all too well. And he knows that, yes, he has this, there's something inside Kirby that will not let him die. He will not go peacefully into the good night. Good morning, Pedro, Hooligan. Corey Moss, great. I thought limits were set already. No, there's no limits set anywhere. We're just waiting until after the news. We got 7 more minutes to the news. These are just some things we're watching, and then we'll see where we stand after the news hits. Dollar's pumping hard. Again, this volume imbalance up here is probably the draw on liquidity that it's going to try to tap into. It's already taken out yesterday's low here for pound. We still have yesterday's low in play for euro. So could be that we've ran, this is the liquidity run that the only one we're going to get today. Of course, it could just be dropping down into sell side to flip around. Remember, long term, we're bearish on the dollar. On the daily and weekly time frame, we're bearish on the dollar. We've had a large, aggressive, impulsive move over the last 7 to 10 days. So you can have a short-term bias that's opposite than your higher time frame overall direction. And so that's kind of what we're anticipating here, is just a little bit more bearishness on the foreign pairs, a little more bullishness on the dollar as it recovers some of these massive moves that it put in the last 7 to 10 days. So it's just kind of what we're watching. There are no orders set. A dog without teeth, that can't be easy. That's what I said. I was like, how is this dude going to eat, man? Are we going to have to make special food now every time this dog wants to eat? And evidently not. Evidently, well, it's just got to eat soft food now. It can't have any like anything that it needs to like crunch down on. It's not going to be able to eat that. So, but he was kind of already on a soft food diet anyway. Good afternoon, Bakong. Welcome in, John. That's how I feel about my neighbor's dog. Gets home from the Air Force Base, walks his dog within daily, poops in my yard. Thank you for your service. Hey, man. Dogs pooping in other people's yards is a pet peeve of mine. Like, you got to be able to, you got to clean that stuff up, man. Seriously, pick up your dog's poop. I read a book about an immortal dog once. I couldn't put it down. An immortal dog. That sounds kind of interesting, actually. I'm a dog lover. I'm definitely a dog guy. Like, we have three, obviously. So I'm definitely a dog guy. All right, about 4 more minutes, 3.5 minutes here until our news comes out, and then we're going to see on these unemployment numbers if the dollar is just grabbing some buy-side liquidity to roll over, if we're going to see a bigger pump. Here comes my pups. All right, don't tell her what I said about Corey. Hello. Oh, nothing. I was just telling them all about Kirby and how much we love him.
Oh, whatever.
I see he survived the night.
Don't lie to your people.
He survived the night. What a guy.
Remington, get out here.
She knows I'm not a Kirby fan. Lulakani, good afternoon. Where are you coming in from? Somewhere on the other side of the world. You said afternoon, so UK, Africa, somewhere over there, I'm guessing. Corey, I hope the news continues to pump the dollar. Maybe. We'll see what it pumps. An Akita Japanese dog. Akitas are cool. Those are cool dogs. There's someone here in our complex that had an Akita the other day. Wasn't that? Oh, where'd she go? We were at the dog park here at our community complex, and I'm pretty sure that was an Akita that woman had, and it was beautiful. South Africa. Cool, man. You are a growing part of our South African community. We have quite a few. Hey, wasn't that dog that was at the dog park the other day with that girl, that big, huge? Wasn't that an Akita? Didn't you say it was an Akita? Yeah. Those are cool dogs. John, how do you go about chewing out a military person for not cleaning up his dog's mess? Thank you for your service, sir. I mean, they're just people. If they're not picking up their dog's poop, that's not okay. Just because they serve in the military, they don't get a free poop pass. Dev says, I think EU is going to pump on the news. It might. Got about 30 seconds here. We'll find out. Hachiko True Story movie. Hachiko. The movie is called Hachiko. I've never heard of it. Is that an anime movie? What is that? All right, here we go on our news. We got about 20 seconds here. We're going to see what kind of pump we get. If anything, it may just be a big flat nothing burger, but we'll see. Stand by to stand by. So let me pop over here to Forex Factory. Getting a big pump on the dollar so far. Unemployment claims came in lower than expected. They were expecting 239 and it came in at 228. So that is a better number than expected. So you're getting an initial pump here on the dollar. Euro dollar dropping pretty aggressively there as the dollar pumps. Pound also continuing to drop. US 30 tapping into a little sell side liquidity there. S&P grabbing a little sell side liquidity. NASDAQ down pretty hard on that news. And NU still down. All right, so here's what we watch and wait for. Now that we've had the news, the question becomes, do we get follow through on this news, or is this just a liquidity grab here that reverses down? And so if things just continue to drop from here, we may not have a setup for them today, because we really need to see liquidity run and then displacement away. Technically, I guess you could look back up in here and say, hey, there was a little run of liquidity in here. But there's nothing super convincing to me in there yet. GJ is pumping up. So we'll see what that is about. US 30 not really giving much movement off of that news. Aussie, again, not getting much movement off of that news. It already had pumped down. So just back inside this range here right now. It didn't displace below that low. Do I consider this still valid? Potentially. I want to see what the dollar does here on this 15-minute candle. But this could be a potential setup here on AU. NU as well. NU, my eye kind of comes down on NU to this area here in this breaker. Meaning we popped this run started down here on this larger down close candle here, aggressive run. So we grab liquidity here, and now we've displaced through. And so the only thing I don't like about that is I would need to put my stop up here. And it just gives a lot more work to do on the downside there on NU. That's kind of how I see NU, I think. AU, we'll see. I'm going to let this 15-minute candle form up. So we've still got about another 10 minutes here on that 15-minute candle, and then we'll reevaluate and assess where we are and the impact the news has had. Currently no wick on that 15-minute candle. When the news hit, it opened and just pumped up. So we know typically no wicks left behind. The market does not like to leave no wicks left behind. So this is the breaker that I would probably be interested if I was going to say there's a breaker on EU. I think this is the breaker that I would use. These last two down close candles run liquidity, displaced lower. There still has left a fair value gap inside of this order block as well. So you do have a nice little fair value gap sitting inside there. Right there. So potentially EU, I would want to target the top of that fair value gap. I would have my breaker above, my stop just above the breaker itself, which is also above the candle that created the fair value gap, and that would be what I was looking for here on EU. GU, there's no good breaker to identify. After the run on liquidity, it's just fallen off. Never gave us a good clean breaker to work with. GJ, yeah, nothing here either. Again, I would have wanted to see GJ run up into this area here to give us a breaker down, but it didn't. It's left that. A lot of sell side liquidity, a lot of buy side liquidity. You've got liquidity on either side of this. It's 50-50 on S&P for me. NAS, definitely have a cleaner downside structure. S&P is sideways, while NAS has created lower lows and lower highs. And US 30 is sideways. So US 30, the Dow and the S&P are just moving sideways, and NAS is a little bit more bearish overall. Oh, is it Hachiku? Did I say that right? The movie? Story about the loyal dog in Japan. True story. Gave him a statue. Really? Now I'm interested. Yeah, Bakang, we have quite. I think there's like 6 or 7 South Africans in here. Aditya, hi. You only place limit order, never stop order. Correct. I do not trade breakouts with this strategy. I'm only trading limit orders. You ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm? Larry David finds himself in a social situation where he meets a person who mentions their military service. Everyone but Larry thanks the veteran for his service. I love Curb Your Enthusiasm. I am not a regular watcher of it. I have seen episodes, and it's pretty funny. I never saw that episode, but I can picture it. Mauricio, good morning. Welcome in. Hey, we're up over 51. Welcome in, everybody. Glad you're here. There are no current orders set. We're just watching now that the news is hit. We're going to let this 15-minute candle print, and then we will kind of evaluate where we stand. I need to check a couple messages while we're waiting here. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Go back. If you hadn't hit that like button, I'd appreciate it if you do. Just one little click on that thumbs up would be helpful. It does help the stream grow. It pushes this content out to other people that YouTube thinks are much like yourself. And if you find an interest in it and you like it, when you engage with that content, it definitely will show up in their suggested feeds, and then potentially they'll come in and stick around and find some use from this as well. So looks like the dollar is just going to continue to pump here and pump quite aggressively. And if it does, we might not get any chance to participate. Aditi, has any watched Oppenheimer? Oh, not yet. I haven't seen it yet. I wanna watch it. Just like Kenneth, I want to check it out. It looks anything Christopher Nolan, man. That dude just makes great movies and tells great stories, and they're just shot so incredibly well. Morocco, Candle Slayer. Morocco's on the north side, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, isn't that up on the Mediterranean side? Maybe I'm wrong. Ever hear of Jim the Wonder Dog of Missouri? He was from Marshall, Missouri. The dog had supernatural powers. John, are you just making stuff up? That does not sound real. Tenant. Yeah, North Africa. That's what I thought. I have not seen Tenet. I do want to watch it. And I've heard it is very confusing. John, I would never. Do they have a statue of Jim the Wonder Dog? Don't make fun of Japanese culture, John. That's not nice. Any new viewers that are tuning in, John likes to stir up the pot and also has a healthy amount of sarcasm. So never take anything he says too seriously, especially when he talks about barbecue. Oh, we'll ride with my motorcycle all around Morocco in October. Dude, if I had a bike and I was over there, I'd ride with you. I ride a motorcycle here. It's just so flippin' hot. It literally feels like I'm just someone has just got a hair dryer, a blow dryer in front of me on full blast at high temp while I'm riding around Houston right now. When I go out and ride, it is so hot. Even if you're going 50 miles an hour, it's just like heat wave just blowing into you. Not fun. Owen says it took me 3 viewings and countless articles to understand Tenet. Oh, well, that's definitely my kind of movie. Is it downtown on the square? Okay. All right. Oh my gosh. It's a real thing, John. I thought you were lying, man. I thought you were just pulling our chain. There he is. Jim the Wonder Dog. No freaking way. He has his own garden. Have his doghouse memorialized. What in the world, man? He has his own museum. Okay. And look at all the reviews, man. 5 stars. What did Jim the Wonder Dog do? In 2017, the General Assembly designated Jim the Wonder Dog Missouri's official state wonder dog. A Llewellyn setter born in 1925, Jim first gained notoriety for his hunting prowess. Legend has it that he tracked over 5,000 birds, a total no other dog has achieved. So he was just a good hunting dog? Is that like the full story? He was a good hunting dog? That's crazy, man. Okay, I take it back, John. I apologize. I'm sorry I questioned you. That's hilarious. No, don't start that. why do you always have to start that? Jim the Wonder Dog was a hunting dog. Hachiku, I'm guessing, was a samurai dog and would kick Jim's butt. Okay, I'm glad it wasn't just me. It was the most confusing movie I've ever seen in my life. Next up is Inception. Inception is fantastic. God, I love Inception. Inception is so good. Interstellar is probably my favorite. His own garden. Don't go poop in the garden, John. You won't. We won't ever see you back on the stream after that. How does a dog have supernatural powers? I don't understand that. Dollar's just coming up short of that volume imbalance, which was yesterday's high. S&P is dropping down now. So if we take an out buy side, here, this would be your breaker on S&P. You have a very clear fair value gap there on S&P. So you've taken out buy side, aggressive move down. Where did that move start? Started right there. There's your breaker. There's your fair value gap. In about 50% and inside that fair value gap, somewhere around there, I'd have my stop up above the candle that created the fair value gap. Target 1 to 2. There's a decent setup forming here on S&P. NAS ran buy side, broke back through. Similar setup on NAS here, where we've run buy side liquidity, and we're getting displacement back through there. These two candles would be your breaker, and an obvious gap inside there. I like S&P a little bit better. That's a pretty tight stop for NAS, 250. Not calling this yet. We're into the next 15-minute candle here. US 30 not showing quite the same amount of displacement, but there's a nice fair value gap up here that lines up with that breaker. You didn't get the same kind of displacement, but you could potentially be looking at something like that. Again, if this wants to moonshot, it could just be grabbing like it did yesterday. It could just be grabbing sell side here. It's been in such an aggressive move up. Trying to call a top here and take a counter trend trade feels really not a good place to be. So we've taken out yesterday's low. Had a stab down here, taking out yesterday's low. Euro has yet to take out yesterday's low. We've taken out quite a bit of sell side here. Dollar really struggled here yesterday. It hasn't tapped back up into it again. These relative equal highs up here look pretty juicy to me. The reason I don't want to call these trades on the indexes because they're short and it's like trying to step in front of a speeding train. When you start trying to call tops and time tops and bottoms, you can get hammered. And I don't. My higher time frame is obviously bullish on those indexes. We've just had moonshots, several moonshots. So very hesitant to call one of these trades here. on at least the indexes. The Aussie dollar setup looks the most tempting to me. It looks the cleanest to me. You had a very clear spike up into liquidity. You had aggressive move away. You have a clean fair value gap. So the chat pair may be the call of the day, quite honestly. Euro dollar also, it's not as clean. The run on liquidity just doesn't look how much cleaner this run on liquidity is and the displacement away versus the little tiny run on liquidity here and then the displacement away. I'm more inclined to like Aussie dollar here. We have relative equal highs on the 15-minute time frame here. If you get a retracement here on the dollar and then run back up into that liquidity, the only negative to me for Aussie dollar is that it did take out this short-term sell side liquidity here. It does have a lot more balancing to do down here after this aggressive move up. If GJ could take out some of this buy side liquidity here and then roll over, that might give us also another setup here. I feel like this AU trade is our best option, and it's actually a really good setup. So I'm not just trying to talk myself into this. Just talk this through. So you're expecting the dollar to be bullish. That means you would expect the Aussie to be bearish. So to take a short, you need to see a run on liquidity, which you get. After you've run liquidity, you see a sharp move away from that liquidity run, which we have. You look back and find where did this run on liquidity start on the down close candles that push that up. You have a very clear fair value gap nested inside of your breaker block. There's a clear and obvious place to put your stop loss. And now you set your orders and if you get triggered in, you get triggered in. And if you don't, you don't. And so I really like this setup here on Aussie dollar. I think I'm going to set it up on my MT5. What does SMT mean again? Corey, SMT is let me set this trade up on Aussie dollar first. In fact, I need to add it to I don't even have it on I don't even have it over here on my, move my mic over. There we go. So if I were to drop my lines in here, I would probably be looking for an entry about right there, and my stop would be up here, 8 pips. TP would be down here. Yep, I like it. All right. Let me set this up and then I'll get back over to the chat, y'all. Let me make sure I have the right. 68291 is my entry. 68371 is my stop. And TP of 68060. Nope, that's not right. 680. That's not right. Hold on. Here we go. 68123. Let me just type it in. All right, here we go. Let's copy that. I'm going to put this out on the tweets here. Six 68291. My stop loss is 0. 68371 and my TP 68123. All right, trade is set up. Notification is sent out. NZD also has a similar setup. I like the Aussie dollar. Again, the Aussie dollar took out. So SMT, this is a good time to talk about that. Corey was asking about SMT. It's smart money tool or smart money technique is the way ICT refers to it. And it's just when you have two correlated pairs. So in this case, you have Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. And you can see right here, the Aussie dollar failed to make a new high, and New Zealand dollar, and on Aussie dollar, it made the new high. So when one of these reaches up and grabs liquidity like this, and the other one does not, it is a sign that that this is going to reverse. Like overall, these two are going to be bearish. The New Zealand dollar did not reach up to grab liquidity. It didn't need to. It had enough liquidity, and so it's just started dropping. Aussie dollar wanted to grab liquidity first. So any return back up into these rebalanced areas, we could expect continued downside movement there. So that's a little brief SMT tutorial there. Owen says smart money trap. Also, yeah, that's another way to think about it. It's in trying to get this pair, the Aussie dollar is trying to trap buyers, or it's trying to induce buyers into the market. And when you see the New Zealand dollar not make that same push up, then you can identify this as a trap. Basically, that's the idea. See you, John. You're probably already out of here, but we'll catch you later. All you need is watching Wolf of the Wall Street as many times as you can, and after that, you can do any fun and challenge anywhere. 100% legit. Probably not the best trading advice, but a highly entertaining movie. Hashiko, that movie forced me to pick one, so he's my best friend since 2 years till now, but unfortunately I can't teach him trading. Yeah, kind of hard to teach the dogs the trading stuff. Joined late. I was taking 2 straight stop losses. Oh, Muhammad, I'm sorry, man. Did they fit? If you take a loss, it's nothing to get bummed about if you take a loss. If you followed your rules and if you executed your trading plan the way that your rules tell you to do it, if you did that and then you take a loss, it's okay. There's nothing to get upset about. But if you broke your rules and you took a loss, then that's something that you should probably be concerned about. So we got SMT between EU and GU. It must go up. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. EU and GU. I look for SMT more between EU and dollar and GU and dollar. So EU and dollar. So EU hasn't taken out the low here on Wednesday's low yet. Dollar also has not taken out Wednesday's high yet. So there's no SMT yet there between the dollar and the euro. I don't really look for the euro and the pound don't have to. I like to see them move together, but they don't have to. They don't necessarily move quite as smooth together as the dollar correlation does. It's just divergence. That's correct. That's probably the easiest way. It's just divergence between 2 pairs. One pair makes a high, the other pair doesn't. Muhammad, I risk 2% on every trade that I take. Yep, followed the rule, took 0.5% on each one. Well, if you followed your rules and the trades met your criteria, then it's just a loss. Sometimes you have a good setup and it just loses. And that's okay. That's okay. As long as you followed your plan and you stuck to your rules, that's all that matters. There's a massive lag. We comment, and after 10 minutes you received. It's not a lag. I see it. I don't always address the comments exactly as they come in. So I will get to them. But when I start talking or I start doing analysis, I kind of move away from the chat. So forgive me if I rehash a comment that was made 10 minutes ago. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything when I go on little 5-minute or 10-minute rants there. So into the 9 o'clock hour here, we could anticipate some of these fair value gaps getting rebalanced. You do have an hourly breaker right here. So these 2 hourly candles right here ran liquidity, and now we're getting displacement through them, which lines up. It would have to be a pretty deep pullback into that breaker, but it does line up. 30 minutes. This breaker right here. You could use all of these, but this one is here as well. It lines up. It may actually hold price down from pulling all the way back up to our entry, but we'll see. Gosh. SMT is just a small confluence. Yes. It's not the sole reason to enter trade. Correct. It's not. It is not. I do not have to have SMT. It's not part of my trading criteria when I'm thinking about setting up a limit order. But it does add some confluence and can strengthen my reasoning and position should I note it. But it does not have to be present for my criteria to be met. But it does help. Where did you learn trading from? ICT? I mean, I learned trading from a lot of different places, but I finally kind of became profitable when I got into some of the ICT concepts. They finally began to make a lot of sense to me about how to understand why the market moves the way it does. It's not that the other systems that I learned can't work. My brain just clicks with the ICT concepts more. And it just gives me a better framework, a better reasoning out framework of why price should go to where it goes and why it should reverse where it reverses. So that's kind of the main reason why ICT really helped me kind of move. It wasn't just that. Quite honestly, it was more about my mindset and self discipline than it was about any specific strategy. Uh, the strategies are important. Technical analysis is extremely important. Being able to sit here on the charts for a couple hours a day and really understand what you're hoping to see and why you're hoping to see it is extremely important. But it's not the end all be all of it. It really comes down to, can you consistently show up every day and execute at a high level? And basically what that means is can you follow your trading plan every single time you sit down at the charts? If you can, it doesn't really matter. Well, that's not totally true. It matters way less exactly what strategy you're using. It matters more uh, what your mindset and your ability to execute your trading plan is. That's usually the more important factor there. Can we frame this on a higher time frame potentially? Run on liquidity here, displacement through, breaker block. So this on a higher time frame here, let's see. Let me just get rid of that. What's this look like on the 15? Hmm. Looks like our move for the day has happened already, and we're not probably going to get our retracement there. Dollar's pushing back up now into that volume imbalance completely. GBP did take out a little bit of buy side there, not much. I would have liked to see it kind of reach up into this area, and then if we get displacement down. US 30 continued to fall. It didn't pull back. Aussie and New Zealand both not reaching back up yet. Sorry, jumping back over here to the chat now, so catching back up. Mauricio, why did you place the stop loss above the beginning of the three candles of the fair value gap? So it takes three candles to create a fair value gap. It takes 1, 2, 3 candles to make a fair value gap. The fair value gap lies inside here. So 1, 2, 3. These three candles create your fair value gap. I use the top candle typically as my placement, but if there's a fair value gap above the one I'm using, I'll place it above there. For euro dollar specifically, here I want to be above the breaker, and I want to be above. In this instance, I don't want to go this high. I would prefer to be in that 10 pip stop range. So I'll use the bodies of the candles that created the fair value gap. as my stop placement there. But I'm above the fair value gap there, and I'm fine with that. But so these three candles created the fair value gap. 1, 2, 3. You could put your stop just above there. On US 30, I like to give it just a little extra space because it can get kind of wonky sometimes. I love combining SMT and 3 dry pattern. Yep. Trades number in the last 1 month. In the last month? Ooh, I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. We're almost into a full month right now. At the end of this week, it'll be 4 weeks, I think, since we started the challenge. I'm not sure. I think it is. On average in a month, I'm probably around over the course of a year, if you take out how many trades I'm going to take this year and you average it out monthly, it's probably going to be around in the 10 to 13, 14 trades a month range, which is typically 2 to 3 trades a week on average. We're in a bit of a cycle right now where we've had very few setups appear for this strategy. You only need one strategy. I'm not gonna add in another strategy. I have other strategies I use on my other accounts, but I'm not going to bring them in here. I want to stay faithful to the original mission of this stream, which is you just need one strategy. You just need to be patient, and you just need to execute your trading plan. And if it means that you're only going to get 1 trade a week for a month, that's fine. Next month, you may get 3 trades a week for a month. The point is master one setup and commit to it. Commit to just trading it for 60 days, 90 days, and watch how much your trading improves when you do that. Any correlation between indexes and dollar? Yes, there is correlation between index and dollar. Typically, when the dollar is pumping, the indexes are falling. So DXY represents a cash position. So if the market is risk off, people are getting out of the indexes and they're looking to protect their capital. Typically, they're getting out of the indexes and moving into cash. So when they're moving into cash, it's going to pump the dollar up and it's going to drop the indexes. That does not always happen. There are plenty of times when they move together, and those are very choppy conditions. It's not very clear on what the market wants to do. And so you just have to be cautious. Typically, though, when the dollar's moving up, the indexes are moving down in general. That's just in general. You see the S&P dropping here. And this could just be some profit taking. After you've had this big move up, again, after you've had a move up, you can expect generally some kind of retrace. You had one down day in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days, almost 2 weeks of straight trading where you've had nothing but bullish price action. So there could be some profit taking in here as, you're approaching all-time highs. You've recovered pretty much all of this bear move down now. You're way, like if you were to look at on a weekly time frame or even a monthly time frame, you're back into the at the top of the OTE range here. So you're back into a premium of this market down from a monthly perspective. If you were looking at this, your last swing low here, whoops, this is backwards. You reach down into the OTE area level here, back into a deep discount, and now you're climbing higher. So it's definitely super bullish. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, you're now 5 months in a row of bullish price action on the S&P. So could be some profit taking going on here, and that could push these indexes lower. You can see we've taken out the sell side liquidity here now. Dollar pulling off of that volume imbalance, it's holding it down again, just like it did yesterday. For the dollar to, for our trade here on Aussie dollar to get triggered in, we're going to need the dollar to rebalance some of this price action, which means we would need it to see it pull back down into this area here or this area here, and then climb back up from there and make a new high. Okay. So again, for if we're gonna see our trade play out here on Aussie dollar, that's what we're gonna need to see from the DXY. We're gonna need to see a pullback here. There's Kirby. Ornery old man making his appearance. The number of setups I've taken total. So we were able to get triggered into 3 trades so far in July. We called, I want to say we've called 5 or 6 trades out. And we've had to cancel a few of them because price just never gave us any kind of pullback into our breaker block. Or it pulled back into our breaker block, but just swerved our entry in the fair value gap. So I think we've probably called 6 trades total, and half of them were triggered in. 2 of them were losses. 1 of them was break even, and a few, probably half of them just did not get triggered in. But it is the summer, and it's to be expected that your setup is not going, whatever your setup is, whatever your trading strategy is, there's going to be certain times of the year where you're going to notice that it is just on fire, and it just provides setup after setup after setup. And then there's going to be times of the year, seasonally, where your setup just doesn't either one appear very often or is just not as consistently profitable as often. So hold on a second, guys. I need to go help my wife with something. Oh, that could have been bad. She was about to pull out of the garage, and I had left my motorcycle out, and I just know how she drives. She would not, even with a back camera, that bike would have gotten plowed. So I had to go out there and move my bike. So apologize for that. But the bike is safe. I'm gonna go ride after this probably. Just get out for a minute. But sometimes third candle can correct the imbalance. Close maybe about 2 to 3 hour a month, more than enough. Yeah, Daniel, 2 to 3 hour a month is all you need. If I made 2 to 3 hour a month, I would be up. Let's see, somewhere between 4 and 6%, which would be fantastic. 4 to 6% a month is a huge amount of growth. Come on. All right, we're coming into the 9:30 hour. We will stay on here for another maybe 10 minutes or so. I'll just see how the 9:30 market opens. And then we'll see what happens. Let's see if we can get a push up here on Aussie to rebalance some of this position here. Yeah, EU has taken the previous day low. GU's taken the previous day low. Dollar's taken the previous day high. You're inside this volume imbalance. You could see a reversal here for sure. Much like you did yesterday, tapped into that, and then you just saw kind of a reversal the rest of the day. You could see something similar here again. I like these relative equal highs up here on the dollar as a draw on liquidity. So if we could get a pullback here on the dollar and to rebalance some of this and then rally, that would be in line with our Aussie trade where we rebalance some of this and then fall off. But we'll hang out here for another 5 or 6 minutes, and then I'll probably end up calling it today. After that, we'll wait for the 9:30 New York Stock Exchange open to see how that plays out. And then we'll go from there. Did not. S&P took it out. NAS took it out. Big opening gap. Big opening gap. Lots of gaps on the NAS here. I would anticipate this not respecting that and just plowing through to rebalance some of these gaps here and here. We'll see. Again, I don't want to call anything super short here yet on the indexes just because the way they've just been on a tear into higher prices has, I don't want to get in front of that moving train. But the setups are there. Be interesting to see how they respect that. If they respect it at all. Just a few more minutes here on the 9:30 open. Uh-oh. Don't know what that was. I'm going to go refill my water cup real quick. I will be right back. Y'all don't go anywhere. We'll stick around here for another 10 minutes or so. So just hang in there. Let's see what's going on in the chat, y'all. I James, I ride a Honda Rebel. It is not a very big bike, but it's fun and it's enough for me to just putt around on and get out and ND, I don't regularly trade the London session, but there has been some talk recently of us doing a London session stream, maybe once or twice a month. It's something that I don't want to do regularly. It just messes with my life. I have to get up in the middle of the night here to do that, and I just don't like doing that very much. So we may do a London session. The breaker strategy does definitely works in all of these sessions, but London and New York, it shows up most frequently. And quite honestly, in the last probably 6 weeks, it's been more prevalent in the London session than it has in the New York session. Good morning, Sam. It's just 500 cc. Again, it's not super big. It's not a big, heavy, fast bike. It's kind of a cruiser. I don't ever really get up and get out on the freeways with it. It's just putting around town, just getting out, riding around. Is there a long setup on the EU on the 5 minute chart? Um, Maybe. If you're bullish on Eurodollar, so here's the thing: is you always want to make sure you know what your higher time frame. Where is your draw on liquidity? Where are you expecting your pair to move towards? Um, so it doesn't really. Was there a run on liquidity? Yes. Has it displaced away? Technically, kind of yes. There is a fair value gap inside this breaker right there. These three up close candles initiated that run on liquidity. After you ran that liquidity, which was previous day low, you've had some displacement higher, but it wasn't a. I would have liked to have seen this be a little bit more aggressive through that, but technically, yes, there's a fair value gap there, and there's a breaker right there. So the higher time frame are showing that this thing has been moving down. So if if your system is a reversal trading system and you're trying to catch a bottom here, that could be a nice entry to try to do that. I would think that this breaker right here ran all of this liquidity. So see the difference between a higher time frame breaker and a low time frame breaker. This breaker right here ran all of this liquidity. And then once we got back to it, we traded right back through there. It didn't respect it at all. Aggressively traded back through it. And that's why, you know, you might be able to catch a small little run up, but I would, for me, I'm going to wait and see what does price do when it gets back up in here. So, all right, we're into that 9:30 open now, and there you go. So there you go. There's your moonshot, your daily moonshot on the indexes. This is why I told you don't try to call a top and bottom on the indexes. There's your daily moonshot, your 9:30 open, clearing out those gaps. You've grabbed liquidity. If this gets displacement through here, you've grabbed liquidity. And then if this wants to run higher, you could identify some breakers in here potentially. Like right here, you've had this US 30 right here, had this run on liquidity. Oh, geez. Depending on how this candle closes, you still have a little bit of time here, but there's your fair value gap inside. And whoops, that's not what I want. I want that. Be looking for about 50%, which is inside there. Put it at the bottom. 1 to 2. It's a huge move. Huge move. The markets just are consolidating so that they can slingshot higher. And I mean, when they slingshot, they are just slingshotting. Like, they are not waiting around. That's crazy. If GJ, man, if GJ could pump a little bit higher here, give this little, could use this candle as a breaker. If it could pump up a little bit and grab some of that liquidity, then displace through, you could have a setup there. Problem is now is you only have about an hour left in your session, so you've only got about 4 15-minute candles to print before your trading session is over. So it's becoming more and more less likely the later we get into here that we're going to actually find something useful today. I'm sorry, I'm missing some of these. I'm just getting back over to the chat. So sorry, I know if you leave a comment in the chat, I promise I'll read it. It may not be as soon as you type it in there, guys. So but Corey, thanks for being here, man. We'll catch you tomorrow. Indy says thanks, Venator. US 30 just punched through that breaker. Yeah, that's why I told you I wasn't going to call a short on any of the indexes, because they've just been doing this. They have shown no desire to respect anything except climb higher. That's all they've wanted to do. And there haven't really been super clean breakers on the opposite side to get involved with there. How do you personally determine your daily bias? So basically, for my daily bias, I'm trying to determine where the draw on liquidity is for that day. Where is it most likely to draw to on that day? So is it most likely to take out the previous day high, or is it most likely to take out the previous day low? That's a very easy way to determine where your daily bias is. Also looking at the weekly time frame, where are you in the week? In the weekly candle, where are you? And have you already hit your draw on liquidity for the week? So I do the same thing for my weekly time frame. I want to know, where am I most likely to draw towards for this next weekly candle? And then I drop down to the daily and see if that aligns with the daily draw on liquidity. And then I'll use the 4 hour as kind of where my most current trend is. And then I'll use the 15-minute to line all that up. So basically, it's just where is this daily candle most likely to draw towards? Where's the price? Where's the liquidity it's going to try to draw towards? That's kind of very quickly how I think through where my daily bias is. When will you cancel your Aussie dollar trade? Um, if it gets to be 10:30 and we're not triggered in, I'll cancel it. But it's already tapped into this sell side liquidity here. The next really strong position for sell side liquidity for me. Let's see here. I mean, it's going to be down here in this area somewhere, probably filling in that fair value gap. Quite honestly, it's there's really no specific space. There's no specific level here because there's a lot to rebalance. There's no specific level I would be watching other than a potential breaker on the other side here. So, for instance, some of these areas could be breakers, meaning that on higher time frames, right? On a higher time frame right here, this is a 1 hour breaker. So this moved up, ran liquidity, we've displaced through. Price is back inside this breaker right now. So if it comes down, you know, into probably the bottom of that breaker before it pulls back up, I'd probably cancel it. So the bottom of this candle right there, again, this is a 1 hour breaker block that we're inside of for bullish order flow. And you're inside a fair value gap inside of that bullish breaker right there. So if price were to come down towards the bottom of this without pulling back, I would definitely cancel it. But most likely it's just going to be a timed out kind of a thing. It's going to be in the next 4 candles. It's very unlikely. It would have to be quite an aggressive move in the next 4 15-minute candles to get us back up to rebalance some of this. All right, y'all. I think we've seen enough to see what we need to see today. There's still, like I said, another hour or so here left in the trading session. For me, I'm not going to sit here and stream all that, though. I've got some other things I need to get out and about and go do. So thank you so much for joining the stream again today. Follow me over on Twitter. Make sure you have notifications on. I'll alert you to any trading decisions I'm making. I'll alert you over there on the Twitter stuff. So, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your afternoon. We'll be back again for the last day of the week. Maybe we'll finally, our streak of finding at least one trade per week is in jeopardy. If we don't find a setup tomorrow, it'll be the first week that we don't get to take a trade since we've started. So, I'm in no control of that. We'll just have to wait and see what the market gives us. But, that's where we're at right now. Again, if this trade on Aussie dollar doesn't get triggered in the next 45 minutes, then it will get canceled, and we'll just have to move on to the next one. So, again, appreciate you guys being here. Have a safe day. Stay safe. Happy hunting. Catch you tomorrow.